Well, the Eagles did it. They won their second Super Bowl in franchise history thanks to one of the most dominant defensive performances in NFL history. And even though Saquon Barkley was shut down, Jalen Hurts answered the call from the critics with a little message.
If it takes all the hate and all the scrutiny and all the different opinions for me to be a world champion, then keep it coming.
However, as great as that is, that's not even the best part for Philly moving forward. So let's talk about that, the latest news around the Birds' OC position, and everything else you may have missed from Super Bowl Sunday. But first, let's run it.
Let's run this back.
What's up, guys? Super Bowl champs, baby, and I'm kind of still in disbelief of what just happened. Look, I expected the Eagles to win, and a lot of us did. It's just that I wasn't one of those saying it was a blowout waiting to happen. However, I've obviously never been so happy to be proven wrong after the Super Bowl. Granted, there's quite a few people that wouldn't say that, but we'll get to those. I mean, we just witnessed the greatest Eagles team in the history of the franchise. After beating the brakes off of Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, while also breaking the body and spirit of everyone on the Kansas City Chiefs. Let me ask you, at what point would you say that you felt like the game was out of reach for the Chiefs? For me, I'd say it was once Cooper DeJean came up with the interception off of Mahomes and ran it back for 6 in the second quarter. Because come on his birthday at 22 years old and the first interception of his career being a pick 6 in the Super Bowl? Come on, you can't write a better story than that. Like, this dude is a legit top 2 and not 2 slot cornerback, who, by the way, after that defensive score, ended the season with more touchdowns scored than allowed this year.
The veterans have talked about how they opened it up for you young guys to basically voice everything you want to voice. How do they empower you? They just poured into it ever since we got here. I can't thank them enough for that. They didn't treat us like rookies at all. They came back, all their knowledge, everything they knew. A lot of us go out there and play confidence.
I don't know if this is just some crazy coincidence, but I know we've been talking about this all week. But again, when you look at Cooper DeJean, Saquon Barkley having birthdays on the same day, you add up their jerseys and it equals 59, as in Super Bowl 59, like it was meant to be. Although the best part is neither of these dudes would have been in Philly had it not been for our own division rivals. Okay, everyone remembers the whole Saquon and Giants situation where we'll continue to thank New York. But let's not forget that had Washington not been willing to trade picks in the NFL draft with the Eagles last year, Howie Roseman wouldn't have been able to select Cooper DeJean. So yeah, both NFC East front offices are probably waking up with a little bit of regret today.
God have mercy.
Look, hindsight's 20/20, but those moves definitely paid huge dividends, and I didn't even mention Jahan Dotson yet, who ended up making some big-time plays to open up the scoring, so kudos to him and kudos to Howie Roseman. Seriously, if you look at what the Birds GM has done through the draft, via trades, and in free agency, there's no question he's the best in football. But this thing for me starts on the defensive side with Vic Fangio. I mean, come on, this dude took over a defense that was near last in the NFL. Yet you add in some youth, a couple key signings, and actually got to see the real potential of this defense. The scary part is that this was the youngest defense in the NFL. So as opposed to some other Super Bowl champions, it's not like this is the end of the ride. Heck, the journey is just beginning. Which, by the way, if you want to be a part of that journey and meet the Philly Dogs, we're doing the biggest giveaway yet. So all you got to do is hit that like button, drop a like on this video, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and then just comment any type of takeaway you had from the Super Bowl. Because as soon as you do that, Thomas and I have a few more spots left to join us at the NovaCare Complex this offseason, where you'll meet the Philly Dogs, get a tour of the complex, and get several signatures and photo ops. So again, drop down to the comments section, type in any sort of takeaway, and then we will be selecting one lucky subscriber on an upcoming live stream. Anyway, sticking with the defense, what's crazy is that the Chiefs didn't convert a third down until there was less than 3 minutes left in the third quarter. But like the Eagles were already up 34-0 at that point. However, as ridiculous as that stat is, the most unbelievable one for me is the fact that KC had fewer total yards, 23, than Philly had points at halftime, which was 24. I mean, this unit literally had the best defensive efficiency rating through 3 quarters in Super Bowl history. Yes, you heard me right. Better than the 2000 Ravens, better than the 1985 Chicago Bears, and better than the 2002 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Granted, some late meaningless scores and stat padding left the Birds to finish the game overall in 4th place, but that game was so far out of reach and who cares? Plus, the fact that Vic Fangio's group could do that against Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid without blitzing a single time, I mean, not once did they blitz, is absolutely unheard of. Okay, for the record, yes, Zack Baun was sent on 2 blitzes, but in terms of rushing more than 4 guys, Fangio didn't do that a single time Sunday because each blitz had a pass rusher dropping back into coverage. Also, shout out to Seth Walder for this stat, but Patrick Mahomes became the 6th quarterback in Super Bowl history to not be blitzed a single time. And in case you were wondering, all 6 of those other quarterbacks that had that happen to them also lost.
And the entire defensive line. It was so dominating, it has to have a ripple effect on the Dallas Cowboys and the Niners and the Rams and the Packers and how they draft. Does it not? Like, how do you block that? I mean, it was really, really good during the regular season. What was that? I mean, we talk quarterbacks all the time on this show, yet Philly humiliated Patrick Mahomes. They could not block the Eagles.
So like I said on the live stream after the game, I'm still struggling to put into words what this defense did to Mahomes and Andy Reid. Remember, this was Mahomes 8-0 against Vic Fangio, 16-0 in a dome. Basically, that he's going to be perfect and no issues with the Eagles' pass rush. Except what we saw was a D-line that simply didn't allow Mahomes to get set and go through his progressions, as they were just about in his face all night, compiling 6 sacks, a forced fumble, 2 interceptions, and essentially making him and everyone else a non-factor.
What happened? Your balls drop off?
Let's just say Mahomes did not keep up appearances for the Super Bowl, but before I get into just how dominant Philly's defense was, I want to share with you guys an exciting offer from the sponsor of today's video, Manscaped, because they're the industry leader in electronic shaving tools and trusted by over 11 million men worldwide. Now, I've had more than a couple looks this season, but that wouldn't have been possible without the Chairman Plus electric foil shaver, which is the more affordable but just as awesome little brother to the Chairman Pro option. Let's break it down. With this elite shaver, you'll get a clean and comfortable shave in seconds. And it features 2 interchangeable blade heads for a smooth skin-close face shave with the ability to customize your look. Of course, my favorite part is the Flex Adjust technology, since it adapts to the contours of my face to help reduce razor burn and irritation. Oh, also, this bad boy is waterproof, so no more dealing with difficult cleanup or the impossible task of washing out your razor. Also, with the Chairman Plus's high-performance rechargeable battery, you'll get up to 60 minutes of runtime. So whether you're cleaning up for a date or just trying to look sharp for that Zoom call, the Chairman Plus electric foil shaver is your go-to. Seriously, with all its advanced features and Manscaped's trusted quality, what more could you want? And right now, use promo code PHILLYSPECIAL for 20% off your entire order plus free shipping. That's 20% off plus free international shipping with promo code PHILLYSPECIAL at manscaped.com. Better yet, if you don't like the product, there is a free 30-day money-back guarantee, so you literally have nothing to lose. Now, while you don't have anything to lose, it was wild to see the Chiefs playing like the team that was scared. I mean, by the time Mahomes finally completed a pass longer than 11 yards, it was late in the third quarter.
It's been 84 years.
For the record, that was also the first time the Chiefs had gotten past midfield, which I know it's crazy to even say that. As we were watching it, the stat popped up and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. An Andy Reid offense, a Patrick Mahomes offense, this vaunted offense that we were told about would shut down or at least go all over the field with this Philadelphia Eagles defense. It took him till extremely late in the third quarter for that to happen. In fact, it was so bad where Mahomes had a 10.7 passer rating thanks to getting picked off by Cooper DeJean and Zack Baun, which led to 14 points. Like, those numbers speak for themselves, but when you consider that through KC's first 9 drives, they only got 43 yards with 6 punts and effectively 3 turnovers, just amplifies how dominant the defense really was. Now, we know it, and we've been saying it all year long, but this team you clearly saw has that killer instinct and that dog in them. Come on, who didn't love seeing this hit by Nolan Smith on Trey Smith to blow up KC's running play? I mean, to see rolling the dice on a player who so many people said was too small and not strong enough to be a game-changer payoff was icing on the cake. Although for people familiar with Nolan's game in college, I think we had confidence that over time that play style would translate.
Shout out to Vic Fangio, man. That man, I know he old, but man, he got so much knowledge up in there, and I can't wait to just take it from him and just take all the knowledge that he could give to the game, man. He's an amazing coach.
Of course, when it comes to the pass rush, how about Josh Sweat with 2.5 sacks and Milton Williams with another 2? But I guess Milt could have told you that was going to happen, since after watching the tape, the D-line knew there was nothing the Chiefs could do. With Milt saying, we knew they couldn't block us up front, and we got dogs everywhere. And yeah, Milton Williams finishing as the highest graded player on the Birds kind of validates that statement, along with getting a shout out from Reid Blankenship for making Mahomes' night a nightmare.
Yeah, we had Pat Mahomes messed up. We didn't really have to call a lot of blitzes because our front seven's like that. So shout out to all of them. We could just sit back in coverage and match up the routes, and we worked as a relationship, as a marriage, so we got the job done.
FYI, this is the reason that I brought up earlier in the week saying the decision, or the at least concentration of the Chiefs taking Joe Thuney from the left guard spot to the left tackle spot would be a serious problem, and some people questioned it, but I think we definitely said that the stats, the game film, everything showed that Sunday. Now, I'll be honest, I never imagined a near 50% pressure rate, but credit to Anthony DeBona who predicted Milton Williams having a monster game. Granted, the downside from some comments I've gotten is that, dang, we're going to lose those 2 guys, they're going to go to free agency, the most sacks in the Super Bowl from Josh Sweat and Milton Williams. And while that's very likely to be true, the good news is that you had what will be their replacements in Moro Ojomo and Jalyx Hunt having the highest pass rush win rate on the entire team, with Jalyx Hunt registering 5 pressures, second on the team, 4 hurries, first on the team, 1 quarterback hit, and half a sack. There's no other way to put it. Big Pimpin' was flat out unblockable. And the crazy part again is the fact that this dude was playing safety at Cornell 2 years ago. Meaning, translation, he's not even beginning to scratch the surface how good he can be. By the way, the Hunter is another dude Anthony was high on since before last year's draft, which is the main reason I started looking into his film and then ended up making a video to say he was the most underrated pick from last year. But honestly, it's not just Jalyx. It's so many guys on the defense because, you can't be great without the greatness of others. And even though Fangio and Baun and Quinyon Mitchell were snubbed at the NFL awards, personally, I kind of liked that. After all, it just gave the fellas a little bit more of a reason to show everyone just how wrong they were. Especially Zack Baun, who not surprisingly was the team's leading tackler and came up with another takeaway via an INT of Mahomes late in the first half, giving the All-Pro at least 1 takeaway in every single playoff game this postseason, as he got an interception off of Jordan Love in the wildcard round, a fumble recovery from the Rams in the snow, a forced fumble and a recovery in the NFC Championship game, and then that interception to set up a score and go up 24-0 in the Super Bowl. But I guess that's what happens when you have a historic defense, because remember, defense wins championships, and by the way, the Eagles ended up this postseason as the second best in terms of turnover differential in NFL history, meaning there's really only one solution for Howie Roseman when it comes to Baun.
Pay that man his money.
By the way, I can't report anything official just yet, but all I'll say right now is I'm hearing very positive things about Zack Baun returning to Philly and eventually getting something signed. And once Howie takes care of business there, it might be a wrap. I know, don't get carried away, plenty of time to celebrate, but when you look at this team in all 3 phases, I don't see how they can't get back and repeat, especially with a quarterback like Jalen Hurts leading the way, who only gets more unstoppable the more the people doubt him.
I think we've seen the best of Jalen Hurts. Yes, I think that's fair to say. That 2022 season and playoff stretch, that's the high.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to recapture that.
Picked up, Hurts going deep, has a man, he's caught!
Let Jalen Hurts beat you. You ain't been balling.
When he has a very clear understanding, like, oh, you're playing my guys one-on-one, and I could throw the ball on an outbreaker or a corner route or a go route to A.J. Brown. It's kind of what Washington did in the NFC Championship game. He is not going to get that against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Hurts lets it go, complete A.J. Brown, he's in!
Force them into throwing the ball.
Hurts going deep for it all, Devontae Smith! He has got it!
I can't control what these people think, but if it takes all the hate and all the scrutiny and all the different opinions for me to be a world champion, then keep it coming.
How great is it that QB1 did this in the biggest game again? I mean, seriously, we're talking about this here. Jalen Hurts has significantly, there's no argument, he's significantly outplayed Patrick Mahomes in back-to-back Super Bowls, which isn't as big of a surprise hearing Jalen admit he gets extra motivation from the critics. And you knew he was going to show out when a camera caught him listening to some more doubters prior to Sunday.
That's all I needed for him to do that, and it became personal with me.
Look, whatever it is, Jalen definitely came out with something to prove, as he finished with the best EPA per dropback out of all quarterbacks since 2000, with his completion percentage of 77% ranking 3rd and his yards per attempt ranking 5th. I mean, here you have a guy who's just 26 years old, has been to 2 Super Bowls and played great in both, won 1 Super Bowl MVP, averaged 12.5 wins over the last 3 years, and just does whatever it takes to win. And you know what? On top of that, Saquon Barkley had a very rough day, but credit to the Chiefs for bottling him up. Although I'm actually glad that happened, because what it did was prove to people that, the doubters saying it can't happen or the Eagles will not be able to win if they shut down the running game, except for they did, and Jalen Hurts just went off. FYI, Saquon ended with a 2.3 yards per carry average, which is the lowest in Super Bowl history by a back with 20 or more carries. But like I said, and again, as we saw, it didn't matter, because number 1 threw for 10 first downs, ran for 5 more, and was in command all night. Like, if you're being honest with yourself, it was Jalen Hurts who looked like the Super Bowl winner and not Patrick Mahomes. Although, yeah, now Hurts is a Super Bowl winner, and he's just the 10th quarterback to win a Lombardi before his 27th birthday, joining all-timers such as Tom Brady, Troy Aikman, Ben Roethlisberger, Joe Montana, and Mahomes. And if we're talking about current signal callers, that's something Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow haven't been able to do. By the way, I'm just going to throw something out here, and I'm curious to hear what you guys think about this topic. So we always hear about Josh Allen as Mahomes' rival, or Lamar Jackson and the Ravens are the rival to the Chiefs, or even Joe Burrow. But I kind of think it makes more sense to say Jalen Hurts is Mahomes' rival. I mean, they're both 2-2 against each other, with each quarterback now winning a Super Bowl head-to-head. And after all, winning is the only thing that matters.
When it's all said and done for me, I won't measure my success off of any numbers of statistics or passing yards or touchdowns or anything like that. I measure it off of rings and championships. And, you know, that's how I look at it. You know, I've talked all week about it. This idea of winning, beating the opponent and improving, beating yourself. And I think my entire career, I've been challenged with different things. And it's put me in a place where I was just trying to improve so I can be the best that I can be.
Okay, I'm not going to break down the entire game, but there is one play that I definitely wanted to point out. Because when Jalen recognized the blitz coming from Steve Spagnuolo early in the game and changed the play to a go route to Dotson, that's when you knew he was cooking. Of course, unfortunately, for those of you who had Dotson as the first touchdown scorer, he was rolled down at the 1, meaning Hurts took it in for 6 and the opening score, which, ended up being good news for Finster 11 and King Oe 316, since they both won the signed helmet giveaways of the birthday boys during the game stream. It's just that I need you to email me or contact me back so that I can confirm your information and get it shipped out to you. Also, I'm going to be giving away several different Super Bowl gear options as well, so make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn the notifications on so that you don't miss out whenever I go live. Now, while we're going around and giving credit, I got to give Nick Sirianni his flowers. Because with the win, he joins Vince Lombardi and John Madden as the only coaches with at least a 700 career win percentage and a Super Bowl championship. Having said that, I'm not afraid to say this. You guys know, you've watched the show. I was very critical of Sirianni, especially you rewind back to a year ago this time. I didn't necessarily think he was the best option to move forward with. But man, am I glad they stuck with him, and man, am I glad that I was dead wrong. Because Sirianni, even though he's taken a backseat with the play calling, clearly has a pulse on the heartbeat of this team and knows how to relate to him. And to rattle off 16 wins over your last 17 is nothing short of spectacular.
I think we just stuck to our process. I think a lot of things got blown, kind of 2 and 2. The outside world, we just, had an opinion on what was going on and everything there, and we just stuck to our process and got better from it. Did some things a little differently, got better from a couple things. I think at the end of the day, you saw this team embrace adversity throughout the entire year. Now, it's hard to say that when you won 16 out of your last 17, but there was adversity. There's adversity constantly. And I think we did a good job of embracing that, the ups and downs of a season, and getting better from the things that we went through.
This team is battle-tested, has so much belief, and like I said, has proved so many different people wrong. Which the same can be said for Jake Elliott, who was a perfect 4 for 4 along with 4 extra points and even made a 50-yard field goal. Remember, this was the same dude who missed 13 kicks during the regular season. Yet get to the biggest stage, and he became the first kicker in history to make 3 kicks from 48 yards or longer in the Super Bowl. Anyway, pretty cool for Jake. I'm very happy for him. I'm kind of thinking they're going to bring in competition, but, we'll see. That's for a future date. Now, the immediate question becomes who will be the next offensive coordinator, since Kellen Moore is likely to officially be confirmed in a day or two as the New Orleans Saints head coach based on several different reports. Although the different candidates and potential options there I'll certainly get into in a future video, so again, just stay tuned for that, but I think there's some pretty good names out there. For now, the positives are that Philly has an offense and defense that can win and are in it for years to come. Which, let me just say, it does not happen without the best owner in the NFL in Jeffrey Lurie. Like his willingness to pay bonuses up front, allowing Howie to work his magic, and paying premiums to coaching candidates to attract the best talent is something that definitely cannot be overlooked. Also, think about this. 17 of the Eagles starters Sunday are 27 years old or younger. And who knows what Howie's got cooking in free agency or the draft. Again, make sure to drop a like and hit that subscribe button because even though the Eagles get an offseason, there's not a whole lot of change for us. I'm going to have regular videos covering free agency, draft prospects, minicamp, and all the other Eagles news. Now, I should mention because some people DM'd me asking about Brandon Graham, especially after Dave Zangaro shared whenever he asked BG about if it would be his last game, he said that he wasn't there yet, leading to some speculation that he might run it back one more season, especially since he said this back in the offseason.
If we win it all, I might have to run it back, but the next 5 years, it could be, on the other side, being a coach.
Look, I'll just say this. BG's the GOAT, and I feel the exact same way for him as I did for Kelce, for Fletch. I mean, the guys cannot stay around forever. We would love for them to. It feels like BG's on his way out. I know he hinted at that as well over the past couple press conferences. It's probably going to be his last season. Still, I get the argument. He played really well in the 13 snaps in the Super Bowl, so it's not like he couldn't. It just feels like right off into the sunset, capitalize on the momentum there. It makes all the sense in the world. Either way, we won't get ahead of ourselves, and if we do get any official breaking news, I'll be sure to go live to let you guys know. Now, as for celebrating, the Super Bowl parade in Philly is officially scheduled for Friday for those wondering. So my thought is I'll probably do the Friday live stream then instead of the Friday night hangout. But again, same thing there. I'll keep you posted. You'll have more than a heads up. But we'll see. It should be fun. Still, though, we definitely got to enjoy this one. And I got to say thank you to you guys for such an amazing season. From all the ups and downs and swings of emotion and everything else. Seriously, this year is one that I will absolutely not forget. And again, I never get tired of saying this, but you guys make it possible, so thank you. Really, really appreciate it. It's crazy. Again, we are Super Bowl champs. It's kind of hit me, not fully, but Super Bowl, they can't take it away. 59. Let's run it back. Let's do it, baby. Let's see you guys in the next one. This has been the Philly Special.